Hello everyone and welcome back to another movie review. I'm your host Ian from EonTalk, and today I'm going to be reviewing Metamorphosis, or in Korean, 변신.
명심해. 속는 순간 우리 모두 끝장인 거예요.
As a demon that can change into human enters a family's home, extremely strange things start to take place. Everyone starts to accuse and distrust each other, and things get more and more out of hand. The family turns to an exorcist for help, but things don't go as planned.
절대 믿지도 듣지도 마.
Metamorphosis is a horror movie, and you can't let summer pass without watching a good horror movie. Right off the bat, Metamorphosis was so much scarier than The Divine Fury. It's one of 5 horror movies that came out this summer, the others being Warning, Do Not Play, Look Away, 27 Meters Down Uncaged, Terrified, and of course, The Divine Fury. The Divine Fury came out on July 31st, but it had most of its box office sales in August, so I'm going to just count that as an August horror movie as well. The movie was directed by Kim Hong-sun, who also directed The Chase and The Traffickers, which was an amazing movie. If you haven't watched The Traffickers, I definitely recommend giving that a go. That's one of the classic Korean thriller/horror. The movie stars Bae Sung-woo, Song Dong-il, and Jung Yeon-nam, and is an exorcist horror movie with a similar theme as The Divine Fury, but it was executed so much better. First, let's take a look at what the good parts about the movie was. There were some freaky scenes that really creeps you out. There are some very graphic portrayals, which are what makes the movie so freaky. It's one of those horror movies that the effects and the graphics of the horror scenes is what really scares you. And like I mentioned, Metamorphosis had a better execution of this horror exorcist genre than The Divine Fury, and I would say this is the case because it actually had a good storyline. It had a storyline that was very organized, and it takes the audience on a suspense ride, and it actually makes sense. Whereas The Divine Fury, like I said in my review, is all over the place, and you don't really see the scenes as one story, but it's just throwing a lot of action and horror scenes at you. Exorcist horror movies have to be executed very well because in a lot of people's mind, it can't take place, or it's not realistic. And to take that and to make it into a story that's believable is what's the key factor in this type of a movie, I would say. And I'm not going to try to go into too much detail, but there's a turn of events as the story progresses, which really surprised me and caught me off guard, and I very highly enjoyed that. I would say the biggest positive element of the movie was the acting performances. Everyone in this movie, all of the cast members, both the main and the supporting, I highly appreciate their acting performances. From the veterans Bae Sung-woo, Song Dong-il, and Jung Yeon-nam to the lesser known child actors and the supporting roles, they all gave a phenomenal performance. Now let's take a look at the bad parts about the movie. I said there were a lot of graphic scenes, and yes, there were a lot of graphic scenes. For a movie that's rated 15 and above, so a PG-13, there was way too much blood. I would say the movie is actually more of a rated R movie. If you're not a fan of horror movies, or even if you are, there's going to be some scenes that really freak you out. Also, as I've been saying in my written reviews on the EonTalk website, I find that English-speaking actors put on very poor performances acting-wise, and also the other way around, where Korean actors, their performance acting-wise is great, but when it comes to English, their pronunciation and their acting just is way too awkward and just takes you away from the movie. And this movie had that. There are scenes with foreign actors and a Korean actor speaking English, and so awkward. Another thing that I found a little unfortunate about the movie was that it has a good storyline, but it tries to scare you too much with jump scares, which I really hate. And lastly, there are some unrealistic elements to it, not on a horror or exorcist spectrum, because this whole exorcist type of theme genre, it depends on who you are and what you believe and what your religion, what you grew up with. That whole thing, it could be very realistic or very unrealistic depending on who you are. But what I'm talking about is the progression of the story. I won't give away too much because I don't want to spoil the movie, but there are parts where you're that seems very unrealistic. Overall, the movie Metamorphosis was very scary, especially for me because I really don't like horror movies, especially when it's about ghosts and demons and stuff. I really don't like it. But if you do like horror movies, I would definitely recommend giving it a go. The music and sound effects is what really makes it scary. I had one of my ears plugged the whole time because of how like scary the sound effects were. There was like zero comedy. There was like one funny scene which, because the movie overall wasn't a humorous movie, that one scene probably wasn't intentionally funny, but because the whole movie was very serious and very scary, is probably why I found that one scene pretty funny. The trailer doesn't do the movie justice when it comes to how scary the movie is. It's pretty damn freaky. I believe I gave Sabaha a ticket price value of $10, and I enjoyed this more than Sabaha, so I would give Metamorphosis a ticket price value of $11. If you enjoy horror movies, I would definitely recommend giving this a watch, but if you don't, stay away from Metamorphosis. Thank you everyone for watching. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're planning to watch this movie, and if you do end up watching it, if you enjoyed it, if you agree with my opinions, and just share with me your thoughts. I would love for my channel to not be like a one-way thing, but like a communication, conversation starting platform. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next review.